Turbyville has it on a tee. Khalil Valentine set to return for the Fighting Illini. And we are underway in Nashville.
And this Tennessee secondary is banged up. He's going to have an opportunity today to make some big-time plays downfield.
He's got Khalil Valentine in the backfield with him. Hank Beatty is his leading receiver and goes in motion, and Valentine finds room over the left side against this depleted Tennessee defense.
Without Colton Hood, they're banged up in the secondary, and Edwin Spillman as well, filling in for Arian Carter, a linebacker that also opted out.
On second and short, it's Valentine to move the chain. Art Altmaier, honorable mention, all Big Ten quarterback. He leads the nation in last-minute wins over the last 3 seasons. Double clutches and still fits it in on a falling catch by Beatty, the senior from Rochester, Illinois. Opening drive for Illinois. One of Tennessee's biggest threats offensively is the fact that they're a great first-quarter team. Illinois will choose to play some ball control offense today, even though Altmaier loves to go up-tempo. Complete for the first down. That's Colin Dixon. And a suplex to take him down. William Wright on the defensive side for Tennessee.
He's excited, too. He's a Nashville native.
After the play was over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, 0. Against the defense, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
And Diego Pavia moving on the left side for Illinois. Tanner Arkin, the tight end.
False start, offense, number 85. 5-yard penalty, first down.
So Illinois goes backwards for the first time, 1st and 15. Altmaier design run. He is a physical and willing runner. He rips off 7 that time.
Nathan Knapik will be on the left side there against a really good defensive front all day.
Knapik, a redshirt freshman from Kennewick, Washington, transferred from Idaho. Altmaier going deep down the sideline, and a fantastic grab and coverage by Colin Dixon. He had Ty Redmond all over him, and now they say incomplete.
Rolling on the field is an incomplete pass. 3rd down.
3rd down, 8. Altmaier checks at the line. 21 touchdowns for Altmaier over the course of the season. And a swing pass to Valentine out of the backfield. He gets stood up immediately, picks up only 1. They're 11 of 15 on 4th down this season. Middle of the pack in the Big Ten. Altmaier looking for Beatty. He's covered. Now over the middle. Progression incomplete. Trying to work the backside of it, and Justin Boeck, and that'll be a turnover on downs for Illinois. Aguilar is top 20 in the country in 5 different offensive categories. He has thrown for 200 yards plus in every one of his starts, and Illinois gets to him on the first snap. James Thompson Jr.
SEC Freshman of the Year, Deshaun Bishop. This offense likes to run the football a lot. Joe Barna, big shoes to fill, with Gabe Akis out of the lineup.
After the sack, 3rd down 10. Aguilar, deep out. That is caught for a first down by Braylon Staley, SEC Freshman of the Year, and the Tennessee offense will go tempo. It is at its most dangerous in the opening quarter, where Aguilar is 3rd in the country in completion percentage, leads the country in yards per game in the first quarter. And now they turn to the ground game, and Deshaun Bishop. Teams on Tennessee's schedule don't bring enough pressure in the opening quarter, even the opening drive. And we saw them get to Aguilar in the first snap. A little dump off to Bishop. He's from Knoxville, and he runs out of bounds for a gain of 12. Knoxville about 3 hours east of here. And they're a great running team, and they stick with Bishop. And a big part of the running, Cole, is a tight end play, and they're happy to have Miles Kitselman, number 87, back on the field. He's from tiny Linden, Kansas. JUCO, then Bama, then Tennessee. Out of the backfield, a stumbling catch made by Bishop. And he's leading the way here. On the ground again, enough for a first down for Deshaun Bishop.
And Tennessee's ability to run the football will try to get them out of that.
And they keep it on the ground, and a huge gain inside the 10. And Deshaun Bishop is Tennessee knocking on the door. Out of the shotgun, Aguilar pulls it back, has room to rumble, and a cutback in the open field into the end zone for a Tennessee touchdown. So Aguilar feeling it tonight in Nashville. And Gilbert punches it through. Tennessee with a 7-0 lead. Second chance for Illinois. Valentine will let it sail wide.
So talking to Luke Altmaier on the field, you could just tell that they really wanted this one.
Yeah. Altmaier's on pace for a school record in completion percentage and movement up front for Illinois for the second time.
False start. Offense, number 64. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Saw it right away, and that's 2 pre-snap penalties, like you said, for Illinois, headed in the wrong direction.
On the ground to the right side, they get some of that yardage back on a physical run. It's Hank Beatty in motion, and he gets back to the backfield. They fake it to him. He's wide open, but Altmaier goes downfield for the completion to Hudson Clement. And an Illinois first down and a gain of 22.
Go route on the outside, and you got Clement on a deep sail route. You see how long this takes. But a great job by Altmaier of standing in that pocket.
And another flag.
False start. Offense, number 58. 5-yard penalty. First down.
They need to simplify some things. That's 3 pre-snap penalties. Can't have that.
Altmaier goes under center. Play action. Over the middle. Complete for a first down again. This is Ashton Hollins with his first touch. And a gain of 19. And the big play ball has been there for Illinois in this drive. He was born and raised on SEC football. A little swing pass. Beatty can throw. Great high school quarterback. Back to Altmaier. And that one's incomplete and trickles out of bounds.
Watch as this play develops. If he's able to get this ball off clean, there is 1 defender over there and 5 offensive linemen. That could be a huge play. Unfortunately, the protection for Beatty was blown up a little bit, caused the errant throw as he stepped back. In the high red zone, he said they were going to give Beatty an opportunity to throw the football that time.
Beatty put up incredible numbers at Rochester High School. Altmaier takes the bad snap and delivers a strike to Beatty. Beatty was the Gatorade Player of the Year at Rochester High. Altmaier hands off, first man through, and that's good enough for the first down. Used 3 different backs so far tonight. Lawfrey finds a little bit of room before he is wrestled to the ground. That's Edwin Spillman with the stop. Second possession of the game. The Fighting Illini. Altmaier, another flag coming pre-snap.
False start. Offense, number 64. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
Altmaier in play action. Has time. Fires in zone. Caught for an Illinois touchdown. Justin Bowick for a gain of 18. And the Illini on the board. A 5-minute, 40-second drive. It took 9 plays to find pay dirt. David Olano on for the point after. Career arc of Luke Altmaier continues to impress. Chance for a return from the 4, Delani Morris. Morris with a hurdle, and he got hit to the upper body, crossing the 25. Living at home at the time. A couple of different JUCO stops for an interruption in his career. It's a 3-yard gain on first down by Deshaun Bishop. Trying to roll left, and he gets taken down but falls forward for a couple. Leon Lowry Jr. the stop, and that'll take us to the end of the first quarter. And he is 4 for 4 to start this one. On third down, off his back foot, got pressured again, and it falls incomplete. Jackson Ross on to punt it away for the first time for Tennessee. Punting against the wind. And he'll take a volunteer hop, cover a little bit more ground.
In Champaign and turned into one of the greatest quarterbacks in school history.
He was not familiar with the Illinois program or even the campus when he first showed up. Little swing pass, plenty of room for Valentine, and he takes it past midfield. Well, the coaching staff embraced him even through the rocky times, which included a 5-interception game against Penn State. Altmaier pressured again, and Tennessee comes up with the sack. It's a loss of nearly 5. It's David Hobbs. Now 2nd and 14 for Altmaier. He's going to shift his tight end Arkin in for protection. And it was play action all the way. Or pardon me, delayed handoff to Valentine. And he'll be short of the first down and set up third and medium. But you're my quarterback this morning. Before you threw 5 picks, you're still my starting quarterback tonight. Here's Beatty on the sweep. Good vision for Beatty before he gets crunched, and he picks up the Illinois first down. He's the only player in college football with a touchdown pass, a rush, reception, and a punt return this season. The Rochester Rocket. They play fake to him. Altmaier steps up in the pocket, little shake, and he dives forward.
Using Beatty as a decoy, trying to hit a shot play downfield, and nothing's there. See a little side swipe of Altmaier's helmet. So he does the smart thing, take off and run.
Impressive for Tennessee in the back end. Yeah. The issues they've had injury-wise, specifically at corner. They lost their best corner before the season even started. And Ty Redmond. 3rd down 4. Pressure from the edge. Altmaier stands tall, delivers, but it is short of the marker as Bowick gets taken down 1.5 yards, if not 2 yards short. Altmaier shovel pass into traffic, and it was intercepted by Tennessee. Bryson Eason thrown right to him.
Rolling on the field, some incomplete forward pass.
They say it's incomplete. Regardless, it's a turnover on downs for the 2nd time for Illinois. Coaching change at the end of the season for Josh Heupel. On the ground. And a solid gain by Star Thomas.
Illinois playing a lot of deep 2-safety zone coverage. Here they go.
Pocket collapsing, and Aguilar taken down again. 2nd sack of the night for Illinois. Eli Coonan. They're still getting pressure on the quarterback without him. Aguilar has room to rumble. Sandwiched at the 39 and picked up the first down.
After thinking at one point, really mentally saying he was going to walk away from the game, to the season he's put together here at Tennessee is going to give him the opportunity to play in the NFL. Something that I think in 2020, you would have thought I got no shot, right?
Well, he told us that his welcome to major college football moment was the Georgia game in Knoxville. That was a huge early season game. A missed kick and some tough break for Tennessee cost him the game. But in that contest, Aguilar threw for 371 and 4 touchdowns. He tied Peyton's school record for passing yards against the Dogs. Another first down on the ground. Straight ahead run again. Star Thomas making headway right up the gut. Big hit from the safety spot. And they can do that with Kitzelman back. Ethan Davis caught fire tight end towards the tail end of the season with Kitzelman out. Aguilar going deep over the middle. Caught for a first down. And taken down at the 20 is Mike Matthews. That's a pickup of 16 for Tennessee.
Great job of working through 3 or 4 reads to get to that backside.
Low scoring first half between Tennessee and Illinois. And a huge hit in the backfield by James Kreutz. Second of the Kreutz brothers to make a play tonight. On the ground, 8 out of 9 plays. Aguilar over the middle. Here's Staley.
They're now in a stack formation with Rodarius Jackson, the true freshman. I think the ball is going in that direction.
Aguilar scanning the field. On the run, incomplete, right through the hands of Staley. He's only missed once inside 40 this season. Wind is indoor. And a chip shot hung up, but went wide. And a missed field goal for Gilbert, and that brings an end to that drive. First and 10. Batted and nearly picked by Tennessee.
Those are so tough to catch. I mean, you're like 8 yards away from the quarterback. That ball's coming fast. You're not expecting it.
Straight ahead. And Illinois going back to Lawfery. It took a while to finally bring him down, and they got him over the line, and Utley will be flagged for an additional 15 yards after a 6-yard pickup.
After the play was over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, defense number 17. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
I don't know.
Oh, I don't know if that. No, that's not a mistake. But that's there's a lot of opportunity for young players out there. This defense is playing pretty well so far.
Under 3 minutes to go before halftime. Lawfery again. And he takes it just shy of midfield. Luke Altmaier swings it to the outside. And a first down catch by Colin Dixon. Illinois is plus about 4 minutes in time of possession. They've done a fantastic job shortening this game. And now they go right back to the ground game. And Lawfery, and he took a massive knock after a gain of 8. The Illini have all 3 timeouts remaining as we approach a minute 20 to play in the first half. Lawfery bottled up in the backfield and thrown down for a loss of 1. Jeremiah Thielander, junior middle linebacker, making his 13th start of the season tonight. There's William Inge, acting defensive coordinator for Tennessee. It's on Kalen DeBoer's staff for a number of years. Floated to the outside, complete for a first down. And Bowick out of bounds to stop the clock. 46 seconds left.
And that's that spot where Colton Hood would be, right? The potential 1st or 2nd round draft pick out of this game. William Wright, the Nashville product, filling in, but Wright is giving a lot of cushion to the field.
Beatty vacates, pump to him. And they go back to him after the defense fell off, and his stiff arm takes him out of bounds. Altmaier may have had a shot deep. Looks like we could have a face
Personal
mask.
foul, grabbing the face mask. Defense number 0. The penalty is half the distance to the goal line and an automatic first down.
Second penalty on William Wright. As you see him get part of Beatty's face mask there. Good veteran decision by Luke Altmaier. They tried to hit a wheel route down the field. Andre Turrentine was actually kind of baiting him to throw that football. Could have made a play on it. Instead, Altmaier checked it down. That's what you want to do. 2-minute situations. You want to be smart with the football, especially when you're in field goal range. Don't take any chances that you don't need.
Lawfery, the lone back. Altmaier play action again. Fires in zone. Incomplete. A lot of coverage in the back end there. Trying to fit it into Hudson Clement. Pressure coming up the middle. Altmaier lobs it into the end zone. Beatty has it knocked away. Fantastic coverage for Tennessee and Jalen McMurray.
It's the right place to go with the ball. The one-on-one matchup with Beatty. The problem is that ball just hung too much.
Play clock getting late. They do. Pressure from the edge. Altmaier fires end zone. It is batted away off the back of the Tennessee defender, Ty Redmond. He was all over. And Olano drills it. Illinois in front for the first time tonight. And a knuckleball sails across the inline. Aguilar has 9 completions of 50 yards or more this season, and that one's incomplete as he tried to throw it on the run to Braylon Staley. Aguilar is only 6 of 9 in this first half. Volunteers 0-2 this season when trailing at the half. They lost to Oklahoma and Alabama. Deep kick and no return.
But again, I expect they start with the run into Deshaun Bishop to soften up this zone coverage from Illinois.
And that run is a huge help on first down as Bishop rips off a first down gallop of 17 yards.
Said middle of the field, a place that they feel like they can attack here in the second half.
A near pick by Illinois on the first down play. It falls incomplete. Aguilar's string of consecutive 200-yard passing games is in peril here to start the second half, and this one almost ended up in Illinois' hands.
Yeah, just a little miscommunication. He's expecting Ethan Davis to sit up a little sooner.
Go back to the ground game and 5 yards for Deshaun Bishop. Aaron Henry is the defensive coordinator for Illinois, defensive back for Brett Bielema's Rose Bowl team, one of them. Pressured, Aguilar can't get loose. Third sack of the night for Illinois. Malachi Hood, the junior out of Joliet Catholic, comes up with a stop for the Fighting Illini.
Boy, this is not as much protection because there is a pocket here initially. As you're going to see the rush from Malachi Hood coming from the left side. He's got Rodarius Jackson wide to the left in one-on-one coverage. That's a true freshman who coming into the game only has 7 receptions. If that was Chris Brazel, that ball is out in a heartbeat. I think Aguilar right now a little apprehensive to take those one-on-one opportunities to a true freshman that he hasn't had a ton of reps with until this point.
Altmaier on the run. He's one of the best in the country in accuracy when he moves. And that one ruled incomplete to Hudson Clement.
Limber arms and a talented arm that can make any throw.
That was a massive gap and a beautiful spin move for Valentine. That's a 15-yard run on first down.
And anytime you bring the blitz, you're going to have a chance to jump out of a gap. And you see the B-gap backside gets completely opened up because the blitz is front side. And a nice hole for Valentine.
And Illinois comfortable leaning on it. Khalil Valentine, the native of Hayward, California, back at it. On second and 5. Fake the handoff, going down the sideline and incomplete to Clement. William Wright had the coverage. Illini 3 of 6 on third down tonight. Caden Fagan joins Altmaier in the backfield. Altmaier looking over the middle. Lets it go out and incomplete. Keelan Crimmins skies this punt. And a fair catch taken at the 20-yard line.
Remember, Miami, no one even thought they should be there. They got a chance to prove that everybody else was way wrong.
Aguilar going to get hit from the backside. And the ball came loose. Scooped up by Illinois at the goal line and in the end zone. Touchdown, Illini. A strip sack for Illinois presents a defensive touchdown. Joe Barton knocked it Beatty Jr. recovered the loose ball in the end zone.
He's actually going to step on the foot of his left guard. The guy next to him causes him to slip, which allows Barna to get the sack. See that? Completely lost his footing because his right foot steps on his teammate. And it's just all liberty-bibberty after that.
Extra point is good. Illinois has got a 10-point advantage.
Right now, Illinois is dictating the pace of this game, and Tennessee's got to focus on putting together another long drive to get some points back on the board.
And so here's the run game for Tennessee, and 5 yards on first down for Star Thomas. They've run it more than twice as often as they've thrown it tonight. Out of the backfield, room to rumble for Thomas, and he's got a first down on the catch and run brought down by Miles Scott.
Yeah, this is where that tempo starts to pay dividends. Couple positive gains, then you start to increase the tempo. Illinois getting lined up in time. Another run right down the middle.
Huge gap. Star Thomas rumbles to the 30. That's a 21-yard gain. And an injured Illinois player. Looks like Tanner Heckel, the cornerback for Illinois. Number 16 in blue is the one that got injured at the end of the play.
And what you notice here, no linebackers on the second level in the box at all because they're in that 2-safety shell. They have 2 safeties deep, and another guy is that middle deep defender. Really 3 guys playing probably 15 yards downfield, no second level defenders, and that's what Tennessee's got to do, just hand the football off.
Aguilar hands it off. And the Tennessee run game in this drive belongs to Star Thomas. 52 yards over 4 plays. Aguilar has to scramble, and he takes it straight up the middle. Inside the 10 for another Tennessee first down before Miles Scott brought him down, and Tennessee keeps the tempo rolling. Out of the pistol with Thomas behind him. Kitzelman, the lead blocker, and they go to Kitzelman on the fake, and a hurdle ends up dumping him at the 5. Torrey Cox Jr., submarine, the big Miles Kitzelman at 6'5", 255. Aguilar crawls down to the 2. Bishop working towards the goal line. He is stopped. Picked up a yard. Defensive lineman substitutions when the offense subs. Full house backfield. Aguilar under center. Handoff left side, and he reached for the goal line. He's in. Touchdown, Tennessee.
They bring in 94 right there on the end of the line of scrimmage. Carter Hewitt, the defensive lineman. That's a great block.
Gilbert for the point after. High kick into the wind, taken on the run at the 11-yard line, and a full head of steam all the way out past the 30 for Khalil Valentine.
This is a big drive for this Tennessee defense to get a stop, get some momentum back in this game after your offense got points on the board and kind of shook off some rust of that first half for them.
Beatty motioned out of the backfield, straight ahead. Lawfrey, and he's past the 45 and a first down run for Aiden Lawfrey. Lawfrey's got nowhere to go. Tennessee stops him. It's a loss of 1.
Nathan Knappich has been great on the left side, but got to find a way to get there.
They come free on Altmaier by design. The screen out to Beatty, and he picks up 10, just short of the first down. They leave 3rd and 1. It's Lawfrey in the backfield. Altmaier under center. Lawfrey manages to pick up the first down. Altmaier fakes right, looking back left. Now he scrambles. And Luke Altmaier runs into the official and picks up the first down. He will let nothing stand in his way of a win here tonight in Nashville. The umpire failed to make the tackle.
Yeah, they're trying to go a double move to the field. Great coverage by Tennessee, and then just get out of the way.
And he will leave Illinois, one of the most prolific passers in school history. And how about this with the legs? Altmaier dances his way for an Illinois first down. Altmaier fakes right, goes right back there. It's inside the 5 to Tanner Arkin.
Such a good throw.
Played for Lou Tepper and then went on to the NFL, Whitman did. First and goal for Illinois. Altmaier takes it himself. He's in! Touchdown, Illinois!
Watch the tight ends on the right side of your screen, Tanner Arkin and Christian Abney. Watch them just push these defenders all the way down. They may take them past the center to open up that hole for Luke Altmaier. Physicality up front has been won by Illinois all night so far.
You see him rocking the baby?
I did see that.
That's pretty good.
You think he's shouting out Jordan like Michael Jordan, or?
Almost plus 100 in total yards tonight over this prolific Tennessee offense, which has been held in check. And on the return through traffic past the 20 to the 21. Quick hitter to the outside. Pickup of 10 on first down. On the ground, chain gang is late to move. Second and 6 for Aguilar in Tennessee. Deshaun Bishop. They bring 4 and still nearly got to him. A perimeter shot to Staley. Out of bounds, I would say he's inbounds, but a first down regardless as we approach under a minute to play in the third quarter. Off the left side is Deshaun Bishop. Three-man rush. Aguilar with time, working against the zone, complete for another first down.
There we go. Rodarius Jackson, the true freshman, talented true freshman, getting involved there. Said his name a few times tonight.
And that will take us to the end of the third quarter.
Really been able to get into that. You see 2 receivers down here at the bottom really wide again. They're still using spacing.
Illinois had that one snuffed out from the jump. It turns into a 2-yard gain for Deshaun Bishop.
If you're driving the football, it's a 10-score game. You still got time on the clock. And
Bishop blown up in the backfield. He had nowhere to go. Angelo McCullum all over that play. He was playing varsity football as a freshman at 13 years old, and a Pickerington, Ohio native found Bishop in the backfield.
that is just a great read by McCullum. He sees that the whole way. Eyes up, watching the quarterback, reading the drops of these offensive linemen.
And now third and 15. Three-man rush this time. They bring a fourth. Aguilar over the middle, a little low, but good for the first down on the catch by Mike Matthews.
That's a great catch there by Mike Matthews.
Here's Bishop. Got to lean it back inside. Picked up 4. Rosiak with the stop.
It's not just they take their time. They sub one and they wait and then sub the next.
Here's Star Thomas. The attention to detail for Brett Bielema is really next level. They're down 6. To the screen, and just short by maybe a yard is Darius Jackson. It would only be a 34-yard field goal from here. Instead, they're trying to extend the possession. Bishop does just that with a Tennessee first down. First and 10 for Tennessee, down 10. Deshaun Bishop, massive hole, and then he bounces to the outside and in. Touchdown Tennessee. Deshaun Bishop from 12 yards out. And the Volunteers have made a game of it here early fourth quarter. Into the net. 3-point game. Can Illinois answer? Here's Luke Altmaier in the backfield to Khalil Valentine. He's taken down inbounds and the clock will run.
They just need to find ways to win. I mean, they got a bunch of good dudes up there. This defensive line is loaded with talent.
There's a first down run for Valentine, and he rumbles past midfield. 18-yard carry. He's had 7 straight centers drafted. He's been an O-line guru his entire career. Altmaier swings it to Clement on the outside. Loss of a yard that time. Altmaier slings it inside.
All right, Tennessee showed blitz last time. It's what caused Altmaier to call the timeout. Not bringing it here.
Got a lead blocker, QB run. Altmaier gets hit, but he picks up the first down. Trying to run behind freshman left tackle Nathan Knappich, and Knappich got just enough. Derrick Henry big.
255 for a running back.
Oh, and he's 6'3". Altmaier backpedaling, and he fits it in, layers it to Tanner Arkin for a gain of 8 on first down. Hand off to Valentine. Well, that offensive line playing tough. Cash would have been out the door. Newmy appreciates what I have here at Illinois and want to leave a legacy. Pressured into throwing incomplete. Ben Bolton was the man who brought the pressure on Altmaier, with the third party doing it. And Altmaier was slow to get up after being dragged down.
Yeah, he's taking a beating tonight. Quarterback runs and a couple big hits outside the pocket.
Play clock getting late. They get the snap off, and they run it straight ahead. Fagan is the back with Altmaier. Third down 9. Fires end zone. Batted away! What a play by Jalen McMurray, who was questionable to play in this game. And he comes up with a massive stop for David Olano. And Olano drills it. Kickoff comes down at the 6 and fumbled, regroup, trying to find the edge. And look at this. Dodson's got the sideline, and he may go. Trying not to run out of steam. Dodson takes it to the house. 95-yard kickoff return. And Tennessee is a kick away from the lead. With Joakim Dodson getting an opportunity to impact this game. I don't think of all the times we've seen Tennessee this year, we've uttered his name once.
No. And actually, the fumble kind of helped open the hole for Tennessee on that one.
And Tennessee is in front by 1. It's 4:58 to play in regulation in Nashville. Tennessee up by 1. No return. Luke Altmaier is one of the best in the country in game-winning drives, final minute or overtime. He leads all active quarterbacks with 6 over the last 3 seasons. Altmaier steps away from pressure and gets past the 30 and up to the 32-yard line.
And it's because of veteran decisions like that. Don't force a ball into tight coverage.
Brett Bielema referenced one of those big comebacks in an overtime win on the road against Nebraska as Altmaier's coming out party as an Olano. Here's Lafferty, and he's into Tennessee territory. A junior from Gibson City, Illinois, showing his track speed. It's a 28-yard pickup.
Now Andre Turrentine, number 2 on the backside, gets his eyes caught in the backfield, over pursues that one, loses contain, and Lafferty,
mainly upperclassmen on that Illinois offensive line, the exception being left tackle. Altmaier fakes left, comes back screen right, net is blown up. Trying to get it to Lafferty, and it was Edwin Spillman. Inge said it was the coaching staff we played for that got us prepared to be coaches. Inge acting DC tonight for Tennessee. QB draw. Altmaier with the pump fake throws a couple, and they'll be set up now for 3rd and 3.5. Injured Tennessee player gives Illinois an opportunity to talk about it. It's David Hobbs, junior from Concord, North Carolina. Fagan in the backfield. They're going to throw to Beatty, trying to work the perimeter. And the far side had it as a first down. The near side did not. It'll be 4th down, 4th and 1.
Brad Bielema told us in moments like this, Luke Altmaier can't have the ball enough.
They're going to use their final timeout, setting up for a 4th and 1 with 2:23 to play.
The ruling on the field, the runner was short of the line to gain. That play is under further review.
Okay, so to Matt's point, forward progress ends where the ball crosses the sideline. And here's the look we have. It wasn't really extended. And so where the body ends up onto the apron, that doesn't matter. It's where the ball was right as it crosses over the sideline.
Yeah, to Matt's point, I think it's just going to be impossible to figure out if he's 3 inches further than he should have been, or if it was a correct spot. You just have no idea at this angle when the ball is crossing that out of bounds line.
And remember, he was ruled short on the field. Now, I tell you what they could do, and maybe this makes a difference depending on your play call. It's a yard to gain. It's 4th and 1 right now.
Yeah.
I mean, they could make that 4th and a foot. They could make it 4th in inches, even if they don't give him the first down.
Yeah, you'd have to try to piece together where his right foot was.
After review, the ruling on the field is upheld.
This little belly play to Aiden Lafferty.
Yeah, they love to go to the first man in this situation. Fagan is also in the backfield. There it is, and Lafferty's got the first down and more. Inside the 20. Hand off, Lafferty. Now Lafferty is able to pick up a few. And Tennessee uses a timeout. 1:56 to play.
It's a bold move, Cotton.
Altmaier hands it off. This is Laffery. And another timeout for Tennessee. 1:50 to play.
Remember, a backup left tackle for Illinois. If there was a time for Caleb Herring, defensive end for Tennessee, to make a play, now would be good.
3rd down 6. First down pretty much seals it. Oh. Well, that'll get them closer. See who it's against. If it's obviously Tennessee, it gives them 3rd and 1.
Offside with contact, number 90. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Dominic Bailey jumped. Tennessee has 1 timeout remaining.
I think everybody jumped on that one.
Fagan is the running back. Here's Fagan, a battering ram, pushes straight ahead, gets it to the 5. And an Illinois 1st down. College kickers are what they are, but it's a near certainty that Illinois would take the lead. They gave Tennessee the timeout back because they stopped the clock due to the 1st down, and that's why it restarted. Altmaier rolls right, takes it to the middle of the field. Now Tennessee can use another timeout, and they will. 1:22.
They're going to take a knee right where they want this ball, right down the middle for a chip shot field goal. They're going to do this one more time, take that clock all the way down.
Trying to set the Illini up for the win.
They'll take this all the way down. Very well managed from Brett Bielema.
29-yard attempt from David Olano, the junior out of Naperville, Illinois, and Naperville North. This for back-to-back bowl wins for the Illini. And Illinois walks off Tennessee. David Olano with the winner. Brett Bielema with back-to-back bowl wins for the first time in Illinois football history.